Welcome, and another edition of Quoth Raven, Lewis Bright Raven. I'm your host, Lewis Bright Raven, 30-year veteran writer, illustrator, editor of comics, science fiction, fantasy, horror, and role-playing games. It is Wednesday, April 20th, 2022. Happy Weed Day, if that's your thing, I guess, 420. But as it is, it's been kind of a weird week for me. Been kind of not slacking off, but things have been going kind of haywire around the house, and I've had to, well, basically my lawnmower's trash. Got to buy a new lawnmower, and I've been shopping around for that, and other things are going on, so it's been kind of delaying myself in terms of getting books read and reviewed. So, what did I get this week? Well, it wasn't much of a week, to be honest. Unfortunately, my comic shop didn't get the stuff I ordered, so I only got one book this week, and that was Kurt Busiek and, I can't think of his name. Pacheco's his last name. I can't think of his first name. I apologize. Let me look real quick. Carlos Pacheco for Aerosmith, Behind Enemy Lines #4. That is the only new book I got. But we did do some reading of recent stuff I've bought that I have shown that I bought it, but I haven't reviewed it yet. So we're going to quickly go into some of those. We're going to start with Cities of Magic, #1, $4.99. Publisher is Scout Comics. It was kickstarted first, however. Writers are Jacob Free and Will Tempest. Artists are Will Tempest and Andre Guerin. I hope that's pronounced correctly. Colors by Bard Simpson. The genre is fantasy. Release date was March 30th, 2022 through Scout Comics. There was a release in Kickstarter first. What it's about. Once upon a time in Old York, a gun-toting drifter wanders into Old York City looking for something no one's ever seen before. He's picked a bad time. The forces of the hyper-priestess Isamar Rothschild, the Queen of Chicago conglomerate, have attacked Old York. Caught in the midst of a decade-old war between two powerful magic clans, the Drifter has to figure out where his loyalties lie, if he has any to speak of, and he has to figure it out quick. This is an interesting post-apocalyptic story where technology was rendered moot not long ago, and society collapsed only to rebuild itself after humanity rediscovered magic. Now, in a world of powerful archmages and witches, it's sort of a Gangs of New York meets Harry Potter meets Kung Fu story where the drifter named Lev has fallen ill after a magic battle that he got caught in the middle of, and only magic can cure him. Unfortunately, he doesn't like magic and doesn't trust anyone. Unfortunately for him, though, he doesn't have much of a choice if he intends to survive. Now, while post-apocalyptic comics are a dime a dozen in today's comics market, I will give the creators credit for trying to do something that's a little bit different with the genre. While magic replaces technology in the series, they do represent it as a tool to be used, and that people are generally wary and actively suspicious of magic users, which is a concerted difference compared to how our real-world society is pretty much addicted to technology and lives on technology constantly. The art is solid. The writing's a little bit slow-paced, but this is the first issue. So let's give the series a little bit of a chance to breathe and see what happens before we start being too critical. Overall, though, a pretty decent book. I gave it 3 stars, 5. It's rated for recommended for ages 13 and up. Here is the book. And we'll show a little bit of the artwork here. The colors are kind of interesting, like a lot of reds and blues, and then go into the sandy, different colorizations. It's not bad. Let me see if I can find a little bit different layouts, because some of the layouts are kind of similar on how the pacing of the book goes. We'll try a different page here, a little different pacing of panels. Now, there is some adult language in here, of course. I did say 13 and up. You might want to go a little bit older. But, these days, PG-13, they have cuss words in them, too. So, more artwork there. Let's see if I can get the... It doesn't really want to clear out on the camera, unfortunately. Okay. Our next book is Comic Book Creator, number 27. Publisher is Tomorrow's Publishing. It's $10.95. Has various writers and artists, again, recommended for ages 13 and up. This is an interview and historical review magazine. It was released March 25th, 2022. The cover that you see for the image, it does say $9.95 there. On that image, it is actually $10.95. I'll show you on the actual book in a moment. This 82-page book features a massive overview and interview with comics legend Paul Gulacy and his time at Marvel in the 1970s and early 1980s on Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu. It also has an interview with comics retail legend Bud Plant, a retrospective on inker Joe Sinnott, and much more. I gave it a 4 out of 5-star rating. Here is the book in question, and as you can see, $10.95, not $9.95. Always like to read stuff about Paul Gulacy. There's stuff about Belgian comics, and there you go. And you talk about the European comics with Cowboy Hank. They talked to Derek Patrick. Different things that go on. Again, a Joe Sinnott retrospective. The Mud Pack. And of course, the Paul Gulacy interview. So there's quite a bit in here. Mostly I got it for the Gulacy interview, but I was pretty pleased with both the Sinnott retrospective and the interview with Bud Plant as well. And lastly, this evening, we have Redshift number 5 for $3.99 from Scout Comics. Writer is H.S. Tack. The artist is Brent McKee with colors by Sebastian Chang. And this cover is by Valentina Napolitano. Genre is science fiction. It was released April 13th, 2022. And what it's about, as the Aphelion returns to Mars to let the humanity that's on Mars know that they found suitable life on another planet and that they can now go to a different planet to colonize. Little do our returning heroes know that the Ministry of Justice has no intention of letting humanity know that they exist and that they ever came back. For the whole mission has always been a sham, and every time they've sent parties out to explore, it was with the intent of them never to return. It was simply to control the Martian human population and keep their own authority in place. Now, the writing on this series has really picked up in the last 2 issues, and I'm not really sure what kept this book delayed. It's probably printer issues due to COVID, but it does seem that since as it was delayed, the writer pulled the book back and retracted some of the story and reworked some of the story to a better effect. In my mind, it just seems like he did. I like where they've gone with the story, but I also feel like they're going to leave the story on a cliffhanger with the next issue and make people wait months for the next arc, which I'm not looking forward to if that's what ends up happening. McKee's art is also improving. He seems to be picking up elements of 1980s Frank Miller and artists like Matteo Scalera's art styles, incorporating them into his own art style. Just has a certain type of way that Matteo draws. It reminds me of Matteo's stuff. Recommended for ages 14 up. I give it 3.5 stars. Let me see here. I do not see the book. I thought I had. Oh, there it is. Sorry about that, folks. Here it is. I'll take a quick look inside. I think you can kind of see the Matteo Scalera effect in the faces. It's not quite, it's a little more blockish than Matteo. Matteo tends to be a little more narrow, a little more trying to think, narrow in makes different shapes for the faces where everybody's kind of blockish and square jawed in this one comparatively. But and you'll see this again, a lot of square jaw type characters throughout the book. And so, but I think McKee will start getting more dynamics and more range of facial structures and facial features and stuff like that as he matures into an artist. But I see a lot of that kind of thing going on there. Story-wise, it's pretty wild in the sense that it's a really nice science fiction story with the political drama. I like the color palette by Chang as well. I do kind of wish, however, that they would stick with the original artist, or the interior artist, I should say, on the covers, than instead of giving different cover artists all the time, because it doesn't really, most of the artists they pick haven't really reflected what's been shown inside. And that kind of, I've always been someone that wants to see what's on the cover reflect what's on the inside of the book. But other than that, really well done. Again, it said 3.5 stars. And that's all for this week. I didn't have time to do any more reviews, but I will try to get some more done for tomorrow or Friday. In the meantime, I hope you guys have had a good week yourselves. And let me know. Hold on a second. There we go. All right. My computer's being silly again. As I was saying, let me know what books you got. You can email me at quotheravenlbr72@gmail.com, as you see on the screen, for that, and let me know what you got. But in the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, or you think others might, please hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons, and continue to get content from my channel. As always, I thank you for watching and for your support. If you want to reach out to me on social media, I'm on Facebook at lewis.brightraven, at Twitter at lewisbrightrave2. You can see my artwork at deviantart.com/brightraven. You have been watching Quoth Raven, Lewis Brightraven, exclusively on YouTube. Again, if you have questions, comments, you want to let me know what books you got this week, you want to ask me a question that you want me to answer on the air, if you want to commission me for artwork, quotheravenlbr72@gmail.com is the address to reach out to me at. And if I don't get back to you within a day or two, try lewisbrightraven@yahoo.com as my backup. We will see you guys tomorrow with another Quoth Raven Q&A. Until then, have a great night. See you next time.